Hello, friends, and welcome to the Optimized Advisor Podcast, where we focus on optimizing the well-being and best practices of insurance and financial professionals today. On this show, our objective is to help you optimize your life, optimize your profession, and learn from other optimized advisors. I'm your host, Scott Heinela. We hope you enjoy the show. Today, we sat down and co-hosted a show with my good friend, Bart Zandbergen, CEO, Chief Financial Advisor, if you will, with the Zandbergen Group and his podcast, the Zandbergen Report. Today, we had in studio Dave Welch, who is the Chief Vision Officer of Bespoke Style. Wonderful guest to have, learning all about dressing your best, current fashion. I think his quote says it best. My specialty is helping my clients wear the correct clothes that positively reinforce their personal brand and the brand of their company. We hope you enjoy.
And today I'm so happy to have in studio my very longtime friend and clothier, Dave Welch of Bespoke Style, and my pseudo partner in crime, Scott Heinela. Scott.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon. That's enthusiasm.
Happy to be here.
I want to say, first and foremost, I have never been in a room with such dapper gentlemen, especially a room this small. So this is great.
Well, yourself included there, mister.
We'll get to that. Thank you.
We'll get to there.
Well,
That brings up the subject of today's show. I think it's dressing for 2022, right? What's the expectation for men in business? What should they wear? What's appropriate? We were talking off air. People are now coming back to work and are kind of shell shocked, like deer in headlight. What am I going to do? What am I going to wear? Is it my athleisure wear? Presumably that's not the right answer, but so that's the topic.
Trends that you're seeing, which I imagine there's got to be a shift going on.
Oh yeah, big shift. The shift was already kind of slowly happening, but pandemic and COVID and lockdowns and this kind of reality has kind of made it accelerate even quicker.
Right.
You figure for 12 months to maybe 2 years, people have been working from home, depending on their industry.
Right.
So they're in board shorts and a T-shirt, and maybe throw on a collared shirt if they have to do a Zoom call.
Right.
So they've gotten really laxed.
Yeah.
And I hear it from a lot of my clients. Most of our clients are, the CEOs, presidents, or running companies, or relatively high up in management. And, they're starting to see workers, they want to kind of bring workers back, whether it's a hybrid model where it's 2 days a week, 3 days a week. In some cases, it's every day of the week, again, depending on the company. Mm-hmm. And so there's kind of like oh my gosh, what am I wearing? I had a client call me the other day, and he goes, well, hey, we're going back to every day. And I tried all my clothes on, and I have some COVID-20. So he just wanted to redo everything. But he's like, I have to be back in the office. And I'm starting to travel and see clients. And so it is, and every industry is different. And that's a little bit of the challenge. Back obviously prior to COVID, there's a little bit of an expectation because every industry was relatively similar.
Yeah.
But now, I had a client, he's a lawyer, and he goes, man, if you walk into the law office on a certain day, you'll see lawyers, $600, $700 an hour in a Hurley T-shirt and board shorts and flip-flops.
And it wasn't like that 20 years ago?
No.
How about 10 years ago?
Yeah, maybe not even 4.
Yeah.
At least that casual.
Yeah.
And that's the slippery slope.
That casual.
That's the
Right,
slippery
right.
slope.
That is the slippery slope.
Yeah. Before it'd be like a polo shirt, jeans.
Oh, right.
Maybe sneakers was really pushing it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Dockers.
Yeah. But now it's, guys are getting
and your scrubs.
Yeah.
Or they don't think anyone's coming into the office. So they're going to sneak in, but then you never know who's coming in sometimes. So.
Yeah, even with some shifts, like some friends of mine who they're very successful executives, and they would always say suited and booted. That was the term they would use, and it was fully suited, right? And they lived that for many years. And then all of a sudden, a few months go by, I see them, and they're literally jeans, polo shirt, hat, and nice, fashionable, designer pants, this kind of thing. And but I mean, that's a massive shift from one dress code to another.
Right.
So you wonder now, we got to find equilibrium here, and how do we do that?
Hey, Dave, before we go further that direction, I think it would be great for the audience to know your kind of fashion evolution in your career.
Sure. So right out of college, I went to Cal State Long Beach. They had a fashion merchandising and design program.
They really good. Way go Dirtbags.
Yeah.
My daughter went there too.
Dirtbags.
Me too.
Same
me
thing.
3.
Yeah, I went there the last year of, I'm drawing a blank on the football coach's name.
Before they got rid of the program altogether?
He was the Rams coach.
Oh, wow.
And then he had retired, and then he kind of coached, and then he was done.
Wow.
But the claim of fame of that season was Terrell Davis played for Cal State Long Beach. And when the program ended, he transferred to Georgia.
Oh, my gosh.
And then, became an all-star with Denver and everything. So very, very interesting. But went to Cal State, was looking for a job, went to their career center. There was a binder for good old Bullock's department stores. And at the time, I wasn't 100% sure I would, really do what I'm doing now. But they had an executive training program. It sounded like something that at least I could build a base of management and training and that type of thing. Got a job, worked there for a few years, and they got bought by Macy's. Bullock's was kind of like a cool little, almost Neiman Marcus-ish, where, every store was unique to the individual community. They had buyers and everything. So Macy's was going to be totally different. I felt like wanted to change. Back in the old days, you looked for a new job in the newspaper, and I was flipping through the newspaper, and I saw an ad.
We're aging
for
ourselves.
a custom clothing company. Interviewed with them, worked with them for probably 2 years. And then in 1995, naively thought I could do this on my own. And I think you have to have some sort of that feeling. I was unmarried, hardly any debts,
Right.
could work from a home office. And so started my own company in 95. It was called Austin Taylor, Taylor. And people always go, how did you figure that name out? And it was challenging because at first I didn't want my name. I didn't think Dave Welch sounded that great for a line of clothing. So I had little index cards and I wrote different names on them. And at the time, I thought Austin would be a cool name for if I ever had a boy. And Taylor would be a cool name if I ever had a girl. But I had a bunch of other names in this deck.
Okay.
I would just put names together, and I put Austin Taylor together. And I go, that sounds kind of cool. Yeah. So I just ran with it. Ran that company, brought a partner on, and then in 08, 09, when our little economic collapse happened, we shut down our store, moved to Irvine, and then my partner and I were kind of drifting. He really wanted to go a different direction. I really wanted to build a brand that could be bigger than me, and I could recruit others. And so that's when I started 8 years ago, the company that I have now called Bespoke. So we have a showroom in Costa Mesa, and it's more of a destination shop, not in a retail space. And it's more designed to work as kind of like personal, like a wardrobe consultant for our clients. So they'll come in and we get to know who they are, what is their business, what do they want their clothes to kind of say about them. Mm-hmm. And some people don't ask a lot of those questions. Mm-hmm. And so we can kind of direct them in different looks depending on who they're calling on, what's their business environment like. Started off mainly in custom clothing. So we would do custom suits, sport coats, tuxedos, lots of weddings. And that was kind of our core base for a while. Mm-hmm. We added a little bit of casual wear very like jeans and shoes and things like that. But obviously when COVID came, it kind of kicked it up a notch.
Right.
And no one was buying tailored clothing for, a year. The one thing that got us through it was weddings were still happening.
Right.
So guys were getting married in a backyard or the courthouse steps, but they were still getting married, so they needed outfits. But thank God for the PPP. I got that first PPP loan, and then I took that PPP paid payroll, and then the money that I had kind of earmarked for payroll, we bought into a lot more casual. So casual jeans, more of casual jackets, short sleeve shirts, long sleeve shirts, casual jackets, things that you could wear on the weekends. Now it was kind of being business from home.
Right.
And so now our store, there's not many blessings about COVID, but one of the blessings it was for us is it made us pivot. And really, now we can offer a full solution for our clients, from weekend casual all the way up to tuxedo if they needed it. So that was, again, a rare blessing.
Right.
But it kind of forced us to pivot.
I love that. I love people's story and what's in their name too.
Right. Right. So you covered it
Pretty
all.
special.
Well, the word bespoke, too, is an old-fashioned term. It's traditionally spelled B.spoke, and I couldn't get that as a web domain because it's more of a general term, so I just took the E out and put a period, and you kind of pronounce it the same.
Yeah.
But it was kind of just an old phrase that when you went into a tailor shop, and they used Old English back then, is you would bespeak for that fabric, and they would write on the ticket, bespoken for Bart Zandbergen, and they just would write it. Now that term has kind of morphed or evolved into a verb.
Right.
And I tell Bart all the time, he creates bespoke, wealth plans for his clients or wealth preservation plans for his clients. It means that it's custom.
Right.
So a funny story is my wife gets a call from one of her good friends, and she's basically hyperventilating on the phone going, "Oh my God, I just read in People magazine Hugh Jackman had a bespoke suit." And she's like, "You didn't tell me you made a suit for Hugh Jackman." And
so it was the verb they were using.
Because if you go to Europe, or if you're it's mainly in Europe, and someone goes, "Hey Scott, it's a beautiful jacket," you'd say, "Oh, it's bespoke."
Right.
It just meant that it was made for you.
Right.
It's not the brand.
Right. I love that.
I told Kim, I said, "Just tell her we made it. It doesn't matter."
Yeah.
We'll take the compliment.
I will tell you, there is nothing like wearing a bespoke suit. Really. Your bespoke suit, because and I'm saying that because first I'm wearing one. I love them, and I love coats. I'm shirt, jean, coat guy. Like I could wear that every day. Maybe not on Saturday and Sunday, but most days, as opposed to true suit person. Yeah,
and that's. Sorry.
I was going to say, it should be known, let it be known to the audience that we are all wearing Dave Welch Bespoke.
We are, absolutely.
Thank
I
you.
love
today.
mine.
Thank you.
And there is something I do actually need to clear up before we get into more of the fashion trends. So while I am proud to be your client, you refer to me as your oldest client. Can we say your longest client instead of your oldest?
Tenured client.
Longest tenured?
Whatever you pick the phrase.
How did you meet?
So we met at an event, and at the time he was working for the job after Bullock's for that company. We made a suit there. Actually, we made two. So Dave taught me the basics. We did a houndstooth suit, 3-piece, and a black suit. And I don't know how many, what's the math on that? Exponential. You have 3 pieces, right? And they can go together or separate. So if you do the houndstooth pants and then the black vest and the black jacket, there's an outfit. And then just swap at will.
So basically 3 times 3, it'd be 9 different possible combinations without adding jeans. But back then,
jeans wasn't
no one wore
thing.
jeans. It was suits only.
Yeah.
And we have to say it was probably a 4-button jacket.
Right.
Which seems so long ago.
That was a little bit later, not my first one, but that came shortly
and
after.
Probably much longer length jackets, much wider pants.
Think of the NBA players
Yes.
back in the 90s.
I have so many questions I
Yes.
could ask.
Have you seen
I
the?
mean, oh my gosh.
Did you watch the Michael Jordan documentary?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen
Yeah.
some of the things they wore?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Massive suits, big boxes.
His might not have been as big as that, but that was the era of dress, and that's. I look back at some of the pictures, and I'm like, oh my gosh.
So when you say 4-button, you're referring to in a quadrant.
No,
No.
the front button.
Up.
Okay.
Like right now we
So
have
your
four-
jacket's
four
two.
vertically.
Imagine
Yep.
adding two more.
Yeah, that'd be
It
aggressive.
would be coming up. And
Be a
the jackets
lot.
were longer.
Right.
And then pleated pants and
with big knees.
big full cut pants.
Right.
Because back then people didn't really want to feel the clothes on them. Again, that's that whole interesting dynamic of fashion. And, men had always been very, would always complain like, oh, this is tight. I can't,
Right.
they wanted this comfort.
Right.
And you go over to Italy or Europe, clothes were painted on the guys
Right.
and very trim and modern. But, back then, America was always a few years slower to adopt, especially for menswear.
Right.
But yeah, that was probably our first few outfits. He was, and given his
And I was
height.
hooked. Yeah, I was hooked.
All right, my longest tenured client.
Longest tenure.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
So can I ask a question? What do you do? What would be a respectful kind of naturalistic way of discarding of old suits? Is there any? What do you do with an old suit that's way out of fashion? I mean, can it be recycled in some capacity?
It's hard. There's movements of, and it's not my area of expertise,
Right, okay.
but there are some
It
people
was just
that
a passing thought.
Well, they reclaim garments, kind of take them apart and repurpose them. And there's different firms that do that. Right now, I think the main thing that we've done is either counsel our clients to maybe reach out to working wardrobes.
Right.
And, most of those 4-button jackets are long gone.
Right,
so
right,
most
right.
of the things that people are donating could actually be worn again. And that's a great plug. For a while during COVID, they weren't taking a lot of donations, but I think they've kind of opened back up, so to speak, to take donations.
Yeah.
And they'll take donations. They donate them to, if you think about it, there's a lot of students that win like a scholarships or they win awards. So those kids might want a jacket or a suit or a shirt and a tie to go up on stage.
Yep. Or
Sometimes,
military.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
sometimes there's people that are wanting to get back into the career, so they need some clothes. And the other thing too is they'll take golf shirts, they'll take chinos, casual pants. Because if someone comes in and maybe gets a job in, let's say, a shipping department, they need more casual stuff. So it's not just about taking back suits.
Yeah.
They'll take back a lot of things.
Don't throw your stuff away. Do some good with it if you can.
Yes.
Absolutely. I need to do a little more of that. The closet's a little full.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what have you done in the past?
Working wardrobes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Or something similar to that.
Okay.
Or your son.
Or for a while, my son. He would,
Yeah. Of course. No, that's
he would
great.
trim it up a little bit.
Yeah. Of
and,
course.
yeah.
Think about people in your community that you can
Yeah.
share the love with.
Share the love.
Yeah. Before getting rid
He
of it.
just
Okay.
took his name out of the jacket.
That's right.
That's right.
Do you have something that you put always inside your collar? Your embroidery?
So sometimes it's a saying like
It is, okay.
like there's Papa loves Tehani. That's on one of mine. Could be my name.
Okay. Do you have people who it's always this? So explain what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Let's
So
not be assumptive. here.
right. So behind the collar of a jacket, like if you were to flip it up,
Yeah.
traditionally there's felt in the back of the collar. It's supposed to help mold the fabric around your neck. And we found that that's a cool little spot to put like a little monogram. It's almost like a little secret spot where no one really knows.
It's so damn cool.
Yeah, and so that's where
Yeah.
if the client doesn't have any idea,
Mantra.
like our default would be kind of going back to our homage and where our name came from. It would say bespoken for, and then the client's name. But we also offer it as kind of a cool way to add something that's unique to you. Or we've had people that have gone to a specific college. SC might say, fight on. I've done that. I've done UCLA Bruins. Some people, if it's around a wedding, they might put a fun little phrase. She said yes. Carpe diem we've done.
That's great.
Yeah, so you can Google like 3 and 4.
I was
world
stumped
quotes.
by the question when Alyssa asked me, but then it's almost like a contest. What am I going to write in this? Because you're not changing it once it's in writing. So you need to really give proper thought to what I want in there. And next time, my next suit, I'm going to put this in here because that's better than the last one I bought.
That's right.
Well, I've had to change some of
It's
them
genius.
out due to divorce or something.
Yeah. Okay. So you can't
Give me a new
change them out,
color.
but it's.
We have had that.
I would say, as not as long or tenured of a customer.
Yeah.
I would say the greatest experience of working with your firm is the sense that it's the sum of the little parts that amount to a really great experience. And that's a perfect example of one of the little things that really go a long way. And this is a truly special piece of material and experience that I'm wearing and I can wear with pride. And it's made specifically for me and only me, the stitching and all these other little things.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful investment in yourself.
Let's talk about trend for a second. I'm looking at the three of us. We made a comment when we walked in, and then we've got our friend Nick out, and we're all wearing pretty much the same thing. We're wearing jeans, a nice button-down shirt, and a sport coat. So, Dave, is that a trend?
Yes. Again, going back to prior to COVID, that was slowly becoming the trend. I think day-to-day suits, and Bart will know even in his industry, both your industries, I think Wall Street, actually I think it was in the Wall Street Journal, they had said that even Wall Street was relaxing their dress codes. And Wall Street was always like the pinnacle of the dress code, like those guys would always wear suits all the time.
Right.
And for them to relax their dress code, it was a slow erosion, especially here. We're in California.
Right.
It's nice and warm. It's sunny. There's this kind of attitude of, being slightly relaxed. But we're also in a county of, style and status and income and success. And so I think the jacket, I've always coached our clients is the jacket is the thing that's going to separate you from the majority of who you're meeting with. Because of that casualization of the wardrobe or in the marketplace, is that a lot of times people are going to walk into meetings and the other person's going to be more casual than them. And I always see that as a sign of strength for our clients. It doesn't mean you have to be gaudy and super bold or whatever, but if you have a jacket, you're just one notch showing respect to the client. And I think it kind of goes back to that. And we were talking earlier about how people are dressing to the workplace. And I think there's a sense of that. I try to install this even in my girls. I have 2 girls, one's 15, one's 17, is, hey, how you show up in different places is how people are going to see you.
Right.
And they're going to judge you. We all do it. We can't help it. I think it's human nature.
Right.
You watch reality TV. I mean, geez, my wife, we notice things. You can't help it. Look what they're wearing. Look at this. And it's not always in a mean way. It's just our brain just captures it. So why not use that human nature to our advantage?
Right.
And wear that jacket. If the world is going casual, that doesn't mean we have to go the opposite.
Right.
You can still be casual, but take it up a notch. But what's interesting is I also have a handful of clients that because everybody's going casual, they're wearing more suits.
Are they?
Now, it's a very small percentage, but they're saying, hey, this is an opportunity where I'm going to brand myself to do the opposite, to be the contrarian, to really stand out.
Right. Interesting.
And, interesting is the tie, right? That business is, you could tell, how often do you see a tie being worn?
Even with a suit. Have you worn a tie with a suit recently?
It's been a very long time, but reflecting back on some of your posts, which just the post alone has prompted me to buy a few of particular suits, and there was one. It was so damn cool. It was gray with the check, white shirt, and it had this charcoal gray tie with the skulls on it. Mm-hmm. By the time I got around, I got the suit, the tie was gone. But to that point, like, who's going to wear a tie now?
Yeah. But some are wearing, again, it's going to be a small percentage, but some are wearing them just to be different.
Yeah.
More of a brand statement of who they are and what they do. Yeah. But,
as a, testimonial to you and Alyssa, who works with you and your firm, and to a certain degree, even just dressing nice, right? It does make a difference. I feel that very often one of my favorite things is they get a compliment on, hey, that's a great jacket, that's a great suit. And I think you guys have done a really good job of really understanding kind of like me and my business and my brand and what, you're not going to put me in a skull suit because that's not going to work for me. We save those for Scott.
It wasn't a suit, it was a tie. Very subtle.
Well, going back to my girls, they're at that age where, they're starting, even with high school, the casualization of high school meets COVID, right? For 14 months, girls were doing school at home, sweats and T-shirt. And then school opens back up, and my youngest is still wanting to wear pajama bottoms, hoodie, kind of thing. And now, although some of that's in fashion, it's kind of oversized kind of clothing, but part of it is getting them to realize is you're not doing it initially for what other people think. It's also about how does it make you feel, and preparing yourself to face the world, to build confidence, to make yourself feel. And I think so much of what we do is how does it make our customer feel? Right. I remember back when I started the business, I'd gone to a personal development seminar, and they were showing clips of different speakers, and there was a speaker, and I don't even think it was he came up with it, but Zig Ziglar.
Oh, yeah.
Perfect name for personal development coaching. Yeah. And he was talking about what's the product of your product. And he was talking about this analogy of when people go into Home Depot and they're buying a drill bit, what are they buying? And the guy's talking about the drill bit, and it's made of this, special, metal, and it's gonna whatever. And he goes, at the end of the day, they're buying a hole. Right. Right. If you're buying a drill bit, you want a hole.
You need a hole. That's right.
And so what he was really talking about is really trying to dive into figuring out what is the product of your product. And it took me a while, but I really realized that it was that sense of confidence that we're really selling. On our website it says we don't sell suits, we sell confidence, and it's really that feeling of when you get dressed up and you're walking into maybe a first time appointment with a potential new client or an existing client, and you feel you look great.
Right.
I truly believe that you're going to perform great as long as you do the other aspects of your business well. We'll partner up with the clothing side. And Bart's right. He does, back in the day, presentations, and he's up in front of people. And I would like to think that he feels, 10%, 20% more confident because he knows he looks great. And that's what we're really trying to enhance with our clients. Even if the world's going so casual, how can you get dressed up and look better, not only for others, but just for yourself?
Yeah, I would. There's no doubt it has a positive impact on your psyche. There's no question of that.
Yeah.
We're not sure if we've gotten through to my 15-year-old on that, but we're working on it day after day after day.
Well, that's part of their journey with you.
Yeah. Their dad doesn't know anything.
So, Dave, before we...
Maybe Bart tells them they'll listen, but...
Right.
Yeah, they never listen to parents.
No.
Before we run out of time, so we were talking off camera about kind of the change in, some trends and fabric. And the old days, it's cotton, wool, or polyester, right?
Yeah.
That's very basic. And then time goes on, and I have a couple of bamboo jackets, which are, do you have one yet, Scott? Is that a bamboo?
Yeah, this is.
I think it might be.
Which I
super soft, right?
Oh gosh, great. Yeah.
And you were mentioning more like the stretch. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, to Bart's point, the reason why everybody wore their clothes really baggy back then is it was any tighter, it would be very restrictive.
Mm-hmm.
I remember I've had some suits for myself, and I'm like, oh, I want to get into this very skinny, trendy look. So I take them in, have my tailor them all up for me, and then I can barely sit in my car. I look great standing up, but I could not. They were not functional.
Right.
And menswear.
Nor did they breathe, probably, right?
Barely,
the quality, yeah.
But menswear has really adopted pages from women's wear in fabrications. If you think about it, Lululemon initially was kind of more of an athletic company, and they started bringing, these fabrications and making pants out of them, and guys went crazy for it, and it's now almost become the new, business casual look. Or Travis Matthews. It feels like Travis Matthews, they're everywhere.
Right.
So I really even coach my clients, hey, wear something different, because everybody's wearing Travis Matthews.
Right.
It seems like in every business meeting. But fabrications have changed for men.
You can answer that later, but do you have suggestions on that? We can come back to that.
You can have some of those looks without the brand names. And again, I have nothing against Travis Matthews. I think they've done a great job and built a huge business. But the adoption is so many other people wear that.
Correct.
I like to coach my clients just to be a little bit different.
100%. A little less saturation.
Yeah, if everyone's wearing a Travis Matthews polo, wear a sport coat.
Right.
And going back to fabrics, I don't know what jeans. You're AG. But we carry a brand called Page. Page is a 4-way stretch, so it literally feels like you're wearing pajamas. But you can wear them a little bit trimmer to your body and not feel they're so comfortable. Yeah. And that kind of fabrications are moving into suits, sport coats, shirts. Nowadays, there's certain shirt fabrics that you can put them in your washer, cold water, hang dry, wear it the next day. Wow. So there's a lot of there's no excuse, I think, to dressing well, but also being very comfortable. That was the biggest thing. It's like people would say, oh, I don't want to wear a suit to work because it's kind of uncomfortable, or I feel kind of boxed in, or whatever. Nowadays, with the right fabrics, the right fit, these clothes should be very, very functional.
So if I were going to invest in 3 pieces today, what would they be? 3
individual, kind of in different categories.
Well, so for me, 3 main pieces.
Got it.
So I order, 3 to 5 shirts, let's just say, right? I get my measurements. I get 3 to 5 custom shirts. What do I pair with what? Do I need, what are the staples?
Right.
Not all of our listeners are as, finely dressed as the two of you. So we're trying to help some people out here a little bit.
If someone's still wearing a suit, and what we're seeing is suits still have a place. We're seeing that more socially, or if a client has a big meeting, or maybe they travel and go to different countries, or if they go to New York or San Francisco or wherever, the suit still has a place.
Right.
I always recommend our clients, if they haven't really updated their suits, I would get a navy suit. If you're just going to have one, get a navy suit, maybe a dark navy. It could have some pattern to it. But you could dress that up for a formal charity event. You could tone that down for regular work with patterned shirts or solid shirts. You could wear a tie. So I think a navy suit would be great, or a super dark charcoal. Either one of those. Navy, studies have shown that people feel more comfortable with that color. It's interesting.
That is very interesting.
I won't bore you with the study, but they've really found that navy is more appealing. Okay. So I usually recommend a navy suit.
And I think less intimidating.
Right. Yeah, that's part of it. It was back in the guy that wrote the book, Dress for Success. They did a little study. A guy came out wearing different colors, and they would poll the audience members, which person did they trust more.
Wow,
did you ever read that, Scott? Dress for Success?
No.
Was that a 70s book?
Yeah.
What if they've updated it?
There could be a edition 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
It was a good.
You know, and we make some of these assumptions already in our heads.
Right.
You know, if you think someone's dressed slick, then you might think that they're gonna, you know, be a little shady or something.
Right.
I mean, we all have that intuition. in
Right,
our
right.
heads. Someone's a little sloppy or frumpy. Do you think they're going to be on top of the details of your transaction as much as someone that's well put together? So these are all biases that and that guy could be the best guy ever in his job, or woman could be the best at. But going back to what your core basics is, one,
core suit.
I would say some sort of navy or dark charcoal. Right. I would say a navy, and I know it sounds like a navy, but you're not going to wear that suit all the time. But a sport coat, if you got a navy pattern, could even be a solid, really well-fitting jacket, you're going to wear that 2-3 times. And what's great about navy is it doesn't become identifiable as much as other colors. So if I'm wearing a red plaid jacket today, if I wore that 3 times a week, you're like, oh, there's Dave in that red jacket again, right?
Right.
It becomes super identifiable.
Right.
But if you have, let's just say, a navy blazer, I mean, that's a core staple. You could wear like a really bold check shirt with it.
That's a very good point.
You could wear it with a solid white shirt one day. You could wear it with a tie. So that is a very good core item that doesn't become repetitive.
Right.
That's
and
two.
also, yeah. I was going to say, just pairing items. So let's use the navy coat. Well, what could I pair that with on for my pants?
I was going to lead
Many
to that
things, right?
again. It's
So
3
many.
items is not enough.
But I would argue most
you could do.
okay, we can go more than 3.
You could
if
go
want,
a lighter color jean. You need some sort of contrast, in my opinion. So if
Okay.
you got maybe a lighter jean, you could go with a tan. The classic was always navy blazer, tan pants. You could do a navy blazer, tan jean,
right?
In a nice stretch, or like a light gray jean. Gives you some nice contrast.
See, I never do that, and I should.
Oh, we got a
Seriously.
sale. We got a sale.
Oh yeah.
Let me get out my
100%.
my fabrics here.
I'm tabulating a small list in the back of my mind here.
The last thing I would recommend is get, like a tan or shoe, like a toffee caramel color. It could be like a monk strap shoe, because that monk strap has like a little strap that kind of goes over.
Right.
Or a nice lace up, or it could be a slip on. Either one, because they all kind of work nowadays.
Okay.
But a tan shoe just looks so much better than like black shoes.
Right.
You know,
With
black
blue.
shoe.
With blue.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, black shoes, they never look as good as they did when you first bought them.
Right.
Right. After a few wearings, even though you polish them, they still look a little murky. But with brown, it has kind of the patina. So you get those shined every now and then. The richness of the leather keeps coming out. And it offers some nice contrast. Like when I went to Italy, this is before a pandemic, on a trip, most of the men during the day would always wear brown shoes. But if it was an evening event or something more formal, then they wear black. But black was very regulated to formal, or like just formal meaning black tie.
Okay.
Or formal just meaning like a dark suit, white shirt, dark tie, dark shoes. But every other occasion was brown, because the brown shoe offers so much character.
Interesting. Yeah.
You know, when you look at a brown shoe, it does. Next time when you look at a guy wearing black shoes, tell me if you don't think they look kind of just average.
Right.
And that's not a mean thing.
Absolutely true.
What's Bart wearing? Well, he's got suede.
Black suede.
He's got black suede.
I
That's
don't have
different.
suede. That's cutting edge.
Yeah, and it's a boot. So Bart's next level.
He is.
That's what
He
happens
is.
when you're.
That's what I'm saying. You know, there's a lot of people. We need to dumb this down a little bit, back to basics.
Well, he's the longest
not-
tenured client. So
Correct.
he has to be next level.
Okay, 2 bonus items. I can add 2 bonus items to my. What would they be? Do you have any input?
Well, I was going to go with the jeans, so you did that.
Okay, jeans. So let's do a quick. What are the types of jeans and fitting that the style of jeans we're wearing today? And like, don't even wear those. Conversely, like,
Well,
what is the fashion of jeans that we're wearing today?
I would for sure say don't wear baggy jeans.
Okay.
And that, again, going
How
back.
tight is too tight?
Well, with today's
This
fabric.
is a serious question.
Well, that could be an issue.
Some men-
that's the question for your wife, honey. And if she says too tight, you go change.
What if I'm not married?
Some of them look like leggings for sure.
That's what I'm saying. Yes, I mean that's.
Well, at the end of the day, you're gonna have
And I
to.
might push the envelope a little bit. I'll be the first to say that a little bit from
Well-
maybe, but they're comfortable. So like Paige,
We're gonna have to check with your staff on that.
Paige, you can push the envelope because they do feel so comfortable.
That's true.
And sometimes it's like, is this a little bit too snug?
You'll know when
In the
you're
quads,
a little higher
predominantly.
and your voice is a little higher. But going to that point is most jean manufacturers have 3 or 4 different fits.
Okay.
So again, hopefully you're finding somebody that's going to give you an honest opinion. But nowadays, because the fabrics have stretch, you can go a little trimmer.
Right.
And when I meant baggies, we all see it.
Yep.
You know, it's kind of like dad's jeans. Although what's really random, going back to my girls, is
those, aren't they?
last year, mom jeans were really popular, and my wife said, I never wore those jeans. Why are they called mom's jeans? It was probably like 2 generations of mom prior to my wife,
Right.
but she got bitter. She's like, I used to wear lower waist jeans,
Yeah.
but they were really baggy. But we've all seen,
Yeah.
you know, maybe it should be called grandpa jeans or something. But those are the jeans you want to avoid for
Okay.
sure.
Got it.
And I don't think anyone in this room's wearing grandpa jeans.
I would throw in Chelsea boots, one good pair of Chelsea boots.
Okay.
So you can change it up with your jeans.
So
Got it.
Chelsea boots, just to
Oh,
so
yeah.
as you kind of slip them on, there's no laces, there's no straps, and they kind of have like little stretch pieces on either side,
Okay.
kind of where your ankles are, to help you kind of get the
Okay,
boot
so
on.
if I was going to buy 1 or 2 pairs of those, I buy black and I buy
Brown.
like brown,
Yeah.
tan, brown.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's a little bit more casual, looks great with jeans, kind of gives you a little bit of that, makes Bart look a little tougher with boots, and
I need that.
a little bit more masculine. Yeah.
Um,
I think, go ahead.
And I would say a pocket square or 5, because that will take that blue jacket and change that blue jacket because if you're swapping out pocket squares.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing too, it's like just general. We can go on and on, which we don't have time for. But
We're kind of out of
like
time.
accessories, a man can't wear a lot of accessories. It's a belt. It's if I'm wearing a tie, which nobody is anymore. It's a necktie. It's watch, bracelet. Like what else do I got? So my point is, it becomes very important of the shoes, the pant. I mean, from top to bottom, what can I dress the part in?
Well, I think that kind of leads into a different topic, and it'll be very short, is I remember when I first started in the industry, I couldn't afford my own suits. And this is my counsel to anyone that's just kind of building a wardrobe is find a tailor that can tailor your clothing to fit you. So for an example, like for me, what I did is I bought, I could only afford a $100 suit, and I would take it and make sure that it fit me perfect. And then I would put my money into accessories. So
Right.
I had great shoes, killer belt, pocket square, and at the time, a nice tie.
Right.
So even my shirts were inexpensive and my suits were inexpensive, but they fit me really well. I could pull it off.
Right.
Almost like a fake it till you make it
Right.
kind of situation.
Yeah.
So that can be the same thing. Guys could go, women could go, buy their clothes. Doesn't have to be expensive. But the real trick is making sure it fits. And then spending more money on your accessories. So if you have a limited amount of money, maybe spend more money on accessories, less money on the core pieces, because it's those accessories women know, right? If they see a good-looking guy and he's got a bad pair of shoes on,
Right.
that's usually death.
Right.
Death for dating kind of thing. But if the guy walks in and his shoes are very, look really great, she doesn't
Yeah.
care how much the pants cost, right? It's like
Right.
they look at those details.
It's great.
Wow. Good stuff.
I mean,
And again, the details go back to branding you as somebody that if people can see that you have attention to detail, and again, I might be reading too much into this, but I think you would think that they really take good care of your business.
Yeah.
So one plug for Bart. Bart finally invited me over to his brand new office space. And I was waiting and finally got the invite. But I walk in and it's immaculate, right? And if you go to his desk, there's like nothing on his desk except for maybe one piece of paper, and the pen is, placed at the right angle. And I thought that was really cool because you go into my desk and it's the complete opposite, right? Probably the more the creative, wacky creative type. But what I walked away going, he's on top of everything. Like, he's so meticulous, and he's and everything's in its right order. That feels really good for me because I have my money with him.
Right. And
is he doing that same kind of meticulous analyzing type of situation with my money? And so it made me, it smelled really good. So one of the things.
Which is staging. That's a very real thing.
Yeah. I read a book it was called Building an Experience Economy.
Yeah, Experience Economy. Read the book.
It talks about if you don't want to be a, what's the word? Commodity. If you don't want to be a commodity.
Because they use the analogy of coffee.
Yeah.
From its organic base all the way up to now towards Starbucks, right? And
or like Build-A-Bear, right? They build this whole experience, and people walk away going, that was amazing, but they spent $100 for a teddy bear, right? But they still walk away happy and that type of thing. But one of them was hitting all the senses. Mm-hmm. And we had been using a different olfactory thing at my store because people come in and they go, oh, it smells really good. But I really like Bart's. Mm-hmm. So I'll share that with you.
Did you get Sandy's email?
I did.
Okay, good. All right, Dave, closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. I think style and how you appear on a day-to-day basis is still important. I think there's a place for it. I think if you want to stand out amongst the average, then pay attention to your wardrobe, pay attention to details. And obviously, as long as you do your job well, I think partnering, the look, the style, all of that is going to take you a long way. It's going to separate you from your competitors because most people are going to be a little lazy, especially kind of coming out of a pandemic. They're going to push the environment where they say, I could wear jeans that are maybe not the great fit, or I'm going to wear a polo shirt when I really kind of shouldn't. So don't be that person. Look, still you can dress well. And I think it's going to carry people a long way.
Good words.
Good words. Very good words.
Scott?
Lax is not the answer.
You? Closing comments?
I would just say, like, being lackadaisical about it in your fashion's not the answer. I think in many walks of life today, that's pushing the envelope probably too far. You can still look very good, be very professional, be very thoughtful, intentional about your wardrobe and what you're wearing, and still be very comfortable.
I'm going to hire him.
That's right. As a matter of fact, speaking of hiring him, how can people reach you?
That's right.
Website and Instagram are the same. It's bspokestyle.com for the website, which is BSPOKE, and then the word style. So check us out on Instagram, go to our website. You'll see Bart kind of from the chin down, but you'll see a great suit that we made for him. He's on the cover. And I'll even throw out my cell number, 714-767-4380. Call me, text me with any questions from 9 to 5:30.
There you go, right? And
yeah. All right, gentlemen, thank you for your time. Dave, thanks for your wisdom. And thanks to everyone who has tuned in, and we look forward to being back in the studio next week. Cheers.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment, or review. Be sure to check us out on social media at Optimized Advisor Podcast. Till next time.